Have you ever felt the sting of being ignored? That unsettling silence after sending a text. The unanswered calls that echo with unspoken questions. We've all been there, navigating the complexities of modern communication, where ghosting and selective attention seem to have become the norm. But what if I told you that being ignored isn't a dead end, but rather a detour, a powerful opportunity to not only reclaim attention, but to fundamentally shift the dynamic and emerge stronger, more confident, and ultimately more desirable? This isn't about playing manipulative games or seeking validation at any cost. It's about understanding the psychology behind attraction, the subtle cues that influence perception, and harnessing your own inherent value to create a situation where she regrets ignoring you. This is a journey into self-improvement, strategic thinking, and mastering the art of presence in a world saturated with noise. We're going to explore 6 powerful strategies that will redefine your approach to rejection, transforming it from a source of disappointment into a catalyst for personal growth. Get ready to challenge perceptions, nudge at egos, and discover the potent force that lies within your own indifference. Strategy 1. The art of indifference. Imagine the expectation. You're supposed to chase, to plead for attention, to desperately unravel the mystery behind her silence. This is the script that so many unwittingly follow, the predictable dance of insecurity and neediness. But what if you tore up that script? What if you embraced the radical power of indifference? This isn't about feigning disinterest or playing manipulative games to elicit a reaction. It's about cultivating genuine nonchalance, a quiet confidence that radiates from a life well lived, independent of external validation. Indifference, in this context, isn't apathy. It's a conscious choice to prioritize your own worth and invest your energy into pursuits that genuinely fulfill you. It's the understanding that your value isn't contingent on someone else's approval, and that your happiness doesn't hinge on their attention. The core of this strategy lies in shifting your focus from her to your own life, your goals, and your passions. When your days are filled with activities that genuinely excite you, reconnecting with old friends, diving into a challenging new project, pushing your physical limits at the gym, or mastering a new skill, her silence begins to fade into insignificance. It's not that you pretend not to care. You genuinely don't care as much because your attention is consumed by something far more meaningful: your own self-improvement and happiness. This is the foundation of true indifference, a state of being where her actions have less power over your emotional state. This isn't just about getting her attention back. It's about creating a life that's so compelling that her attention becomes a secondary consideration. But how do you practically apply this elusive art of indifference? It begins with a conscious effort to fill your time with activities that genuinely resonate with you. Reconnect with friends you've lost touch with, not because you want to impress her, but because you genuinely value those relationships. Embark on a new project that challenges you intellectually and creatively, whether it's learning a new language, writing a novel, or building a website. Hit the gym with renewed vigor, not to sculpt the perfect physique for her gaze, but to improve your health, boost your confidence, and feel better in your own skin. The key is to find activities that are intrinsically rewarding, that provide a sense of accomplishment and purpose independent of any external validation. When you're genuinely engaged in your life, a fascinating phenomenon occurs. Her silence begins to lose its sting. It no longer feels like a personal rejection, but rather a reflection of her own choices and priorities. And here's the twist. This newfound indifference often sparks her curiosity. Why aren't you chasing? Why does it seem like you're perfectly content without her attention? This shift in dynamics can lead her to reevaluate her approach towards you, wondering if she misjudged your character or underestimated your value. The tables begin to turn, not through manipulation or coercion, but through the quiet power of your own self-sufficiency. However, there are pitfalls to avoid. The most critical is falling into the trap of faking indifference. The moment you start acting indifferent as a calculated tactic, you're back in the game of chasing her attention, albeit in a more convoluted form. True indifference isn't an act. It's a state of being that stems from genuine self-respect and self-sufficiency. It's about recognizing that your worth isn't determined by her opinion, and that your happiness doesn't depend on her validation. If you're merely pretending to be indifferent, she'll likely see through the facade, and your efforts will backfire. Authenticity is paramount. Cultivate genuine interests, nurture meaningful relationships, and prioritize your own well-being. This is the foundation upon which true indifference is built, and it's a far more powerful and sustainable strategy than any manipulative tactic. Remember, this is about building a better you, not just winning her back. The concept of indifference often gets a bad rap in modern relationships. It's often associated with coldness or lack of care. However, in the context of reclaiming attention after being ignored, it's crucial to understand the nuanced difference between apathy and self-sufficiency. Apathy implies a lack of interest in anything, a general detachment from the world. Self-sufficiency, on the other hand, is a conscious choice to prioritize one's own well-being and pursue personal goals, while still being open to connection and relationships. It's about having a strong internal compass that guides your actions, rather than relying on external validation for your sense of worth. Embracing this form of indifference isn't about shutting people out. It's about creating a solid foundation of self-love and independence that makes you a more attractive and resilient individual. Think of it as building a fortress of self-worth that can withstand the storms of rejection and the fleeting winds of attention. Strategy 2. Emotional mastery. In the intricate game of emotions, the one who maintains composure often holds the power. When faced with the sting of being ignored, your instinctive reaction might be to lash out in hurt or anger, to bombard her with questions or accusations, or to withdraw into a shell of self-pity. But here's a more effective move: absolute stoicism. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or becoming emotionally robotic. It means mastering your emotional responses, choosing to remain calm and composed in the face of perceived rejection. It's about demonstrating that her silence doesn't ruffle your emotional state, that you possess the inner strength to weather the storm without losing your equilibrium. This strategy is rooted in the principle that emotional reactivity is often perceived as a sign of weakness or insecurity. When you react strongly to being ignored, you're essentially giving her power over your emotions, confirming her ability to influence your mood and behavior. Stoicism, on the other hand, projects an image of self-assuredness and control. It communicates that you are not easily swayed by external factors, that you have a strong sense of self-worth that transcends her actions. This doesn't mean being cold or indifferent to her feelings. It means maintaining an even-keeled demeanor, regardless of how she chooses to treat you. The practical application of emotional mastery begins with acknowledging your feelings without allowing them to dictate your actions. It's okay to feel hurt, frustrated, or confused when someone ignores you. These are natural human emotions. However, the key is to process these emotions in a healthy way without allowing them to control your behavior. Instead of sending a barrage of angry texts, take a deep breath, acknowledge your feelings, and choose to respond with composure and restraint. Maintain your daily routine, engage in activities that bring you joy, and interact with others as you normally would. If you happen to encounter her, acknowledge her presence with a polite nod or a casual hello, but nothing more. Avoid bringing up the fact that she's been ignoring you or displaying any signs of emotional distress. This approach sends a powerful, silent message. You are not swayed by her behavior, and you maintain control over your emotional state. You're demonstrating that you're capable of handling the situation with grace and maturity, which can be incredibly attractive. Women are often intrigued by men who don't crumble under emotional pressure, who possess the inner strength to remain calm and collected in the face of adversity. Your unbothered attitude might just make her question her tactics and the true impact of her behavior on you. She may begin to wonder if she misjudged your resilience or underestimated your capacity for self-control. The silent message conveyed through Stoicism is profound. It demonstrates independence and self-respect. Instead of showing that you are emotionally invested and perhaps a bit too sensitive, You portray yourself as someone who is confident and secure. This isn't about playing games. It's about showcasing your emotional intelligence and ability to handle conflict. It's about demonstrating that you're not desperate for her attention and that you value your own emotional well-being above all else. This subtle display of strength can be incredibly alluring. Emotional mastery is often misinterpreted as emotional suppression. People assume that being stoic means burying your feelings deep inside and pretending that everything is okay. However, true emotional mastery is about acknowledging and processing your emotions in a healthy and constructive way. It's about understanding the triggers that cause you to react emotionally and developing strategies to manage those reactions. For example, if you know that being ignored makes you feel anxious and insecure, you can practice mindfulness techniques to calm your mind and regain your composure. You can also engage in activities that boost your self-esteem and remind you of your worth. The goal is not to eliminate your emotions, but to gain control over them so that they don't control you. This requires self-awareness, discipline, and a willingness to challenge your own emotional patterns. It's a lifelong journey, but the rewards are well worth the effort. Learning to master your emotions will not only help you in your relationships, but also in all aspects of your life. Strategy 3. Focus on self-improvement. When faced with silence, a powerful and productive response is to channel your energy into self-improvement. This isn't solely about making her regret ignoring you. It's about becoming a better, more well-rounded version of yourself. It's about investing in your personal growth, expanding your horizons, and cultivating qualities that make you a more attractive and fulfilling individual. This transformation isn't for her benefit. It's for your own. However, a pleasant side effect is that it often gets noticed, subtly shifting her perception of you and potentially sparking a renewed interest. Hit the gym with a focused intensity, not to achieve an unrealistic ideal, but to improve your physical health and boost your self-confidence. Upgrade your wardrobe, not to impress others, but to feel more stylish and put together. Dive into books, podcasts, or online courses to expand your knowledge and broaden your perspective. Pick up a new skill, whether it's playing a musical instrument, learning a new language, or mastering a software program. The goal is to evolve into someone who is mentally, physically, and emotionally stronger, more capable, and more confident. The attraction of ambition is undeniable. Women are often drawn to men who are driven, motivated, and continuously striving to improve themselves. When she sees you thriving instead of sulking, it disrupts her expectations. She anticipates a reaction of disappointment and neediness, but instead, she witnesses a display of resilience and self-improvement. Your personal growth makes her wonder about her initial judgment of you. She may begin to question whether she underestimated your potential or overlooked your positive qualities. It's a subtle way of showing her what she's missing out on without explicitly stating it. The impact of self-improvement extends far beyond the immediate situation. The benefits of investing in yourself are long-lasting and far-reaching. You're building a better life for yourself, one where you're happier, more confident, and more prepared for any future relationships. This journey of improvement makes you more attractive, not just to her, but to anyone who values depth, growth, and self-awareness. You become a more compelling and intriguing individual, someone who is constantly evolving and striving to reach their full potential. Remember, this strategy is not about changing yourself to please someone else. It's about becoming the best version of yourself for your own sake. It's about recognizing your inherent value and investing in your personal growth, regardless of whether or not someone else notices. The confidence and self-assurance that come from self-improvement are inherently attractive and will naturally draw people towards you. The concept of self-improvement can sometimes feel overwhelming, as if you need to overhaul every aspect of your life in order to become good enough. However, it's important to remember that self-improvement is a journey, not a destination. It's about making small, consistent changes over time that gradually lead to significant progress. It's not about striving for perfection, but about embracing continuous learning and growth. Start by identifying areas in your life where you feel you could improve, whether it's your physical health, your mental well-being, your social skills, or your professional abilities. Then, set realistic goals and create a plan to achieve them. Break down your goals into smaller, manageable steps and celebrate your progress along the way. Remember to be patient with yourself and to embrace setbacks as learning opportunities. The key is to focus on making small, incremental changes that will gradually transform you into a more confident, capable, and fulfilling individual. Strategy 4. Cultivating your social circle. Another powerful strategy when faced with being ignored is to actively cultivate and expand your social circle. This involves engaging more with existing friends, meeting new people, and attending social events. This serves two crucial purposes. It enriches your life by providing you with a sense of belonging and connection, and it subtly communicates to her that you are not isolated or dependent on her attention. A man who is socially active, well-liked, and surrounded by friends is inherently attractive and intriguing. Visibility and social proof are key elements of this strategy. Being seen having fun, laughing, and enjoying the company of others is a form of social proof. It subtly communicates that you are desirable and valued by others, which could trigger a sense of curiosity or even FOMO in her. She starts to see you in a new light, as someone who is sought after and appreciated by others, which can shift her attitude towards you. It demonstrates that you are not sitting at home feeling sorry for yourself, but rather engaging in a vibrant and fulfilling social life. Building genuine connections is paramount. Focus on building meaningful relationships with people who share your interests and values, rather than trying to impress others or seeking validation. Authenticity in your social interactions is key. Enjoy the process of meeting new people, strengthening existing friendships, and participating in activities that bring you joy. This authenticity in your social life speaks volumes about your character and can make her reconsider the value she placed on you initially. If she perceives that you are genuinely happy and fulfilled without her, it can spark a desire to be a part of your life. Remember, the goal is not to flaunt your social life in her face or to make her jealous. It's about genuinely cultivating meaningful connections and enriching your own life. This authenticity is what will ultimately attract people to you and make you a more well-rounded and desirable individual. Expanding your social circle can also provide you with a valuable support system. When you're feeling down or insecure, having a network of friends who care about you can make a world of difference. They can offer you emotional support, provide you with a different perspective, and remind you of your worth. This support system can help you to navigate challenging situations with greater resilience and confidence. Many people struggle with the idea of expanding their social circle, especially if they're introverted or shy. They may feel awkward or uncomfortable in social situations, or they may worry about being judged or rejected. However, it's important to remember that building meaningful connections takes time and effort. Start by identifying your interests and seeking out groups or activities that align with those interests. This will make it easier to meet people who share your passions and values. Be open to meeting new people, even if they seem different from you. Strike up conversations, ask questions, and genuinely listen to what others have to say. Remember that everyone feels a little awkward in social situations sometimes. The key is to be yourself, be genuine, and be willing to put yourself out there. The more you practice, the easier it will become to connect with others and build a strong social circle. Consider joining clubs or organizations related to your hobbies, volunteering in your community, or attending workshops or classes that interest you. These are all great ways to meet new people and expand your social horizons. Strategy 5. Demonstrating independence and confidence. Independence is an incredibly attractive quality. When a woman ignores you, use this as an opportunity to demonstrate your self-reliance and self-sufficiency. Show that your happiness and self-worth are not tied to her responses or approval. Engage in activities that you love, pursue your interests with passion, and demonstrate that you are complete on your own. This level of self-sufficiency is appealing and can often make her rethink her decision to ignore you. Confidence is key in this strategy. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance or boastfulness. It means being secure in who you are, knowing your value, and trusting in your abilities. It's about believing in yourself, even when others don't. This can be expressed through your body language, the way you speak, and how you carry yourself. Project an air of self-assurance and conviction, without being overbearing or aggressive. When she sees that her ignorance doesn't shake your confidence, it may lead her to question whether she underestimated you. She may begin to wonder if you possess qualities that she initially overlooked, and she may become more intrigued by your self-assuredness. Confidence is often perceived as a sign of strength and competence, which can be incredibly attractive. Balancing attention is important. While it's crucial to demonstrate independence, it's also important to be open and friendly when opportunities for interaction naturally arise. This shows that your confidence and independence are genuine, not just a front put up in reaction to being ignored. It's about striking a balance between showing self-sufficiency and being approachable. If she initiates a conversation, engage with her in a polite and respectful manner, without being overly eager or needy. Show that you are capable of interacting with her on equal terms, without compromising your own self-worth. Remember, this strategy is not about playing hard to get or manipulating her emotions. It's about genuinely cultivating independence and self-confidence, which are inherently attractive qualities. It's about demonstrating that you are a well-rounded and self-sufficient individual who doesn't need her validation to feel worthy. Many people confuse confidence with arrogance. They believe that being confident means being boastful, assertive, and dismissive of others. However, true confidence is rooted in self-awareness and humility. It's about knowing your strengths and weaknesses, accepting yourself for who you are, and being willing to learn and grow. A truly confident person doesn't need to put others down to feel good about themselves. They're secure in their own abilities and are happy to celebrate the success of others. Cultivating genuine confidence requires self-reflection, self-compassion, and a willingness to challenge your own limiting beliefs. Start by identifying your strengths and focusing on developing them further. Acknowledge your weaknesses, but don't dwell on them. Instead, focus on finding ways to improve or compensate for them. Surround yourself with positive and supportive people who believe in you and encourage you to reach your full potential. Practice self-care and engage in activities that make you feel good about yourself. Remember that confidence is a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself and celebrate your progress along the way. Strategy 6. Creating a sense of mystery and curiosity. Embrace the power of mystery. When a woman ignores you, instead of trying to win her over with overt actions or declarations of affection, create a sense of curiosity about your life. This doesn't mean playing manipulative games or being deliberately evasive. It means being less predictable and more intriguing. Share less about your personal life, plans, and thoughts, and let her wonder about what you're up to. The less she knows, the more she's likely to be curious. Implement subtle changes in your behavior and appearance. Maybe it's a new style of clothing, a new hobby, or a sudden interest in a previously unexplored topic. These small changes can create big questions in her mind. She might start wondering what inspired these changes and whether there's more to you than she realized. This is about injecting an element of the unknown into her perception of you. The art of engaging conversation is crucial. When you do interact with her or with others in her presence, be engaging and witty, but not overly revealing. Leave some things unsaid and hint at exciting developments in your life without giving too much away. This creates a puzzle that she can't help but want to solve. Your goal is to pique her interest and make her realize that there's a depth to you that she has not yet explored. This strategy is about tapping into the human desire for novelty and discovery. People are naturally drawn to things that are new, intriguing, and slightly out of reach. By creating a sense of mystery and curiosity, you can make yourself more attractive and desirable. Remember, this is not about being dishonest or deceptive. It's about selectively revealing information and leaving room for her imagination to fill in the gaps. It's about creating a sense of anticipation and making her want to learn more about you. Creating a sense of mystery can be challenging in today's hyperconnected world, where people often overshare every aspect of their lives on social media. However, it's important to remember that privacy is a valuable asset. You don't need to reveal every detail of your life to everyone you meet. In fact, being selective about what you share can make you more intriguing and desirable. Resist the urge to overshare on social media. Instead, focus on sharing curated content that reflects your interests and values. Be mindful of the information you reveal in conversations. Avoid talking about your personal problems or insecurities. Instead, focus on sharing your passions, your experiences, and your unique perspective on the world. Cultivate a sense of inner confidence and self-assurance. People are naturally drawn to those who exude a quiet sense of mystery and intrigue. Conclusion. As we reach the end of our journey, remember that being ignored by a woman isn't the end of the world, but rather a new beginning. It's an opportunity to reflect, improve, and emerge stronger and more self-aware. Each strategy we've discussed isn't just about dealing with the immediate situation, but also about your personal growth and self-realization. The ultimate goal isn't simply to recapture her attention, but to reach a point where you are so content and confident in your own life that whether she pays attention or not becomes inconsequential. This is a path to becoming a more attractive and fulfilling individual, regardless of your relationship status. Remember, the key is to focus on yourself. Indifference, emotional control, self-improvement, social engagement, independence, confidence, and a sense of mystery are not just tactics. They are stepping stones to a more fulfilling life. A life where you are the protagonist, not a side character waiting for someone else's approval. These strategies are designed to empower you, to help you take control of your own happiness and self-worth. Strategy 1. The art of indifference. We've all experienced it. The cold sting of being ignored. The unanswered texts hanging in the digital ether. The silent treatment that feels like a personal indictment. In today's hyperconnected world, where instant gratification is the norm, being met with silence can feel like a crushing blow. But what if I told you that this seemingly negative experience is actually a golden opportunity? An opportunity to not only reclaim attention, but to fundamentally reshape your approach to relationships and cultivate a rock-solid sense of self-worth? This isn't about manipulative tactics or playing childish games. It's about understanding the psychology of attraction, tapping into your inherent value, and mastering the subtle but powerful art of indifference. It's about transforming rejection from a source of despair into a catalyst for personal growth and self-discovery. We're going to dive deep into the first of our 6 powerful strategies, the art of indifference. Imagine this scenario. You send a text, brimming with anticipation. You wait and wait and wait. Hours turn into days, and still no response. The natural impulse is to chase, to double text, to desperately inquire about the reason for the silence. This is the script society often dictates, the predictable dance of neediness and validation seeking. But what if you dare to deviate from that script? What if you embraced the seemingly counterintuitive power of indifference? Now, let's be clear, indifference in this context isn't about feigning disinterest or suppressing your emotions. It's about cultivating a genuine sense of self-sufficiency and prioritizing your own well-being. It's about understanding that your value isn't contingent on someone else's approval and that your happiness doesn't hinge on their attention. It's about shifting your focus inward, investing in your own passions, and building a life that is intrinsically rewarding regardless of external validation. Think of it as constructing an impenetrable fortress of self-worth, shielded from the fickle winds of other people's opinions. This isn't about playing games. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about recognizing that your time, energy, and emotional resources are valuable, and that you have the right to invest them in pursuits that bring you joy and fulfillment. When you operate from this place of self-sufficiency, the silence of another person loses its power. It no longer feels like a personal affront, but rather a reflection of their own choices and priorities. But how do you practically embody this seemingly elusive art of indifference? How do you transition from anxiously awaiting responses to genuinely not being bothered by the silence? The answer lies in conscious action and a deliberate shift in mindset. It begins with a commitment to filling your time with activities that ignite your passions and fuel your sense of purpose. First, reconnect with your friends. Not superficially, with a forced, "Hey, how's it going?" but truly reconnect. Delve into meaningful conversations, plan adventures, and create shared experiences that strengthen your bonds. This isn't about showcasing your social life to make someone jealous. It's about nurturing genuine connections that enrich your life and provide a sense of belonging. Next, embark on a challenging new project. Learning a new skill, starting a business, volunteering for a cause you believe in, anything that pushes you outside of your comfort zone and demands your focus and attention. This is about cultivating a sense of accomplishment and purpose that transcends your romantic pursuits. Then prioritize your physical well-being. Hit the gym, go for a run, practice yoga, or simply take a walk in nature. Physical activity not only improves your health and fitness, but also boosts your mood and self-confidence. This isn't about sculpting the perfect physique to attract attention. It's about feeling good in your own skin and taking care of your body, mind, and spirit. Finally, cultivate your intellectual curiosity. Read books, listen to podcasts, watch documentaries, or take online courses. Expand your knowledge, broaden your perspective, and engage your mind in stimulating ways. This is about becoming a more interesting, informed, and well-rounded individual. When you genuinely immerse yourself in these activities, a remarkable transformation occurs. The silence that once felt deafening begins to fade into the background noise. Your attention is consumed by your own pursuits, your own growth, and your own happiness. And here's the surprising twist. This newfound indifference often ignites curiosity in the person who is initially ignoring you. They might start to wonder, why aren't they chasing me? Why do they seem so content without my attention? What are they up to? This shift in dynamics can lead them to reevaluate their approach, questioning their initial judgment and potentially sparking a renewed interest. The tables turn, not through manipulation, but through the quiet power of your own self-sufficiency and the allure of a life well lived. However, it's crucial to avoid the trap of faking indifference. This is a common pitfall, and it's easily detectable. The moment you start acting indifferent as a calculated tactic to elicit a response, you're back in the game of validation seeking, just in a more disguised form. True indifference isn't an act. It's a state of being that emanates from genuine self-respect and a deep understanding of your own worth. It's about knowing that your value isn't determined by someone else's opinion, and that your happiness doesn't hinge on their validation. If you're merely pretending, they'll likely sense the insincerity, and your efforts will likely backfire. Authenticity is the cornerstone of this strategy. Cultivate genuine interests, nurture meaningful relationships, and prioritize your own well-being. These are the building blocks upon which true indifference is constructed. It's a far more potent and sustainable approach than any manipulative trick or superficial facade. Remember, this isn't just about winning someone back. It's about building a better you, a more resilient, self-assured, and ultimately, more attractive version of yourself. It's about crafting a life that is so compelling, so fulfilling, that the attention of others becomes a welcome addition, but never a necessary ingredient for your happiness. To truly internalize the art of indifference, consider these practical exercises. The phone detox. Dedicate a specific amount of time each day. Start with 30 minutes, gradually increase, where you completely disconnect from your phone. No social media, no texting, no checking emails. Use this time to engage in a hobby, read a book, or simply enjoy the quiet solitude. This will help you break the addiction to instant gratification. The self-care ritual. Create a daily self-care ritual that nourishes your mind, body, and spirit. This could include meditation, yoga, taking a bath, listening to music, or spending time in nature. Prioritizing self-care will help you to build a stronger sense of self-love and self-worth. The Challenge Yourself Project. Choose a skill or project that you've always wanted to pursue but have been putting off. Break it down into smaller, manageable steps, and commit to working on it for a specific amount of time each day. This will help you to cultivate a sense of accomplishment and boost your confidence. The social connection audit. Evaluate your current social circle. Are you surrounded by people who uplift you, support you, and inspire you to be your best self? Or are you surrounded by people who drain your energy and bring you down? Identify the relationships that are truly valuable and invest your time and energy in nurturing them. The Embrace Solitude Challenge. Spend some time alone each week, engaging in activities that you enjoy. This could include going for a hike, visiting a museum, or simply relaxing at home with a good book. Learning to enjoy your own company is a crucial step in cultivating self-sufficiency and independence. But let's address a common concern. Doesn't indifference make you seem cold or uncaring? This is a valid question. The key is to differentiate between indifference and genuine empathy. You can be indifferent to someone's silence without being indifferent to their well-being. You can still care about someone as a person without allowing their actions to dictate your emotional state. It's about maintaining healthy boundaries and prioritizing your own self-respect. You can still be kind, compassionate, and supportive without being needy, clingy, or desperate for attention. Think of it this way. You can offer someone a helping hand without allowing them to drag you down. You can listen to their problems without allowing them to consume your energy. You can be a supportive friend without sacrificing your own happiness and well-being. Indifference, in this context, isn't about shutting people out. It's about protecting your own emotional space and ensuring that your happiness isn't dependent on external factors. Now, let's consider a real-life scenario. You've been dating someone for a few weeks, and things seem to be going well. However, they suddenly stop responding to your texts and calls. Your natural impulse is to bombard them with messages demanding an explanation. The indifferent approach. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a step back and assess the situation. Acknowledge your feelings of disappointment and frustration, but don't let them dictate your actions. Continue to pursue your own interests and hobbies, and focus on spending time with friends and family. If they eventually reach out, respond in a calm and collected manner, without displaying any signs of neediness or desperation. You could say something like, "Hey, good to hear from you. I was wondering what happened. I've been pretty busy lately myself." This approach demonstrates that you're not dependent on their attention and that you have a life outside of the relationship. What if they never reach out? In that case, consider it a blessing in disguise. It's a clear indication that they are not invested in the relationship, and you are better off moving on and finding someone who values your time and attention. Don't waste your energy trying to chase someone who doesn't appreciate you. Instead, focus on investing in yourself and building a fulfilling life that attracts the right kind of people. The art of indifference isn't about being perfect. It's about progress. It's about gradually shifting your mindset, cultivating self-sufficiency, and prioritizing your own well-being. It's about recognizing that your value isn't contingent on someone else's approval, and that your happiness is within your own control. This isn't a quick fix. It's a long-term strategy for building a more resilient, self-assured, and fulfilling life. Embrace the journey, be patient with yourself, and celebrate your progress along the way. The art of indifference isn't about becoming cold or uncaring. It's about reclaiming your power and creating a life that is worthy of your own attention and admiration. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, regardless of what anyone else thinks or does. This is the true essence of indifference, and it's a powerful force for personal growth and lasting happiness. And with that, we move on to our second strategy for shifting the dynamic: emotional mastery.